Is this a one and done process, or is it like, I know you do cycles a lot, but I don't know if this is a cycle, but it feels like it's not a one and done process either, though.
It's not, again, if you remember when we first started the call, it definitely wasn't one and done. In fact,
Right.
if anything, it was like it's a 2-year adjustment.
Right.
2 years, because here's what happened to me, for example. Actually, we'll go back to the story of the young lady. Here's what happened to the young lady. She comes, we start working together. She's moved to tears. She's lying. She's laughing. She's going through the entire emotional. I think she probably went through every single emotion that a human can experience: anger, sadness, laughter, joy, like all of that. She went through the entire cycle. Literally on day one, and then it was a lot more joy and happiness on day 2. Okay. Fantastic. We've been through the process. I know what I need to do now. I know what I got to focus on. Here are the 5 or 6 things that I got to focus on for the next 18 months to get momentum. As you're focusing on those things, your character's being built, your integrity is being built, your resilience is being built, your perseverance is being built. You're becoming that, and you're building that unstoppable momentum, right? Well, it never fails, and I tell people this with this process, especially with immersion, that with sometime within the year following the Transform You immersion, they're probably going to have 3 to 4. Not breakdowns, not like personality breakdowns, but like chances and opportunities to slip back into bad behavior or bad forces of habit. Okay. What does that? The first time they get majorly challenged. Okay. Let's assume that maybe they go through the process like this young lady did, where she was single. She desperately wanted to get married. She knew her family wasn't going to be for it because the family was scared that would cause her to underperform. And that was their cash cow. Okay. So they were all against her getting married, but that's one of the deepest yearnings of her heart. All right. So we go through the process, and inside of Transform Immersion, there's a lot of talk about your relational circle. I think I've mentioned that before, and who to let in, who to let out, and how to watch people go in and out and all that kind of stuff. Well, she meets a dude. And on the surface, the guy is a good dude. She met him in the industry that she was in, thinking they had some common values and some common things. He came from an alcoholic background. He was anti-alcohol himself, but he came from that background. Well, you got two people that were what I refer to as in process, right? They are not necessarily broken anymore or hung up. They're not necessarily stuck, but they're both gaining momentum, but they're still don't have enough momentum yet to carry them through the wall if a wall jumps out in front of them. So they start dating, and it's great for 5 or 6 months. They're laughing, they're cutting up. They got the whole infatuation phase. This is my soulmate. Whoops. Apparently it disconnected on me. I did my funny face. Sorry.
No, you're good.
So anyway, so they get together. They're in their, what the heck is going on? There we go. So they get together. Well, about, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 months in, all of a sudden she begins to self-sabotage this relationship. She goes back into that, he's too good for me. He's too good to be true. I don't deserve this. Why? Because in her previous life with her parents, she's always been taught that she has to earn her love. And she can only earn her love by performing. Does that make sense? So she goes through that entire process. Well, she basically throws a grenade into the relationship. Okay. She chooses to go be unfaithful. Obviously completely detonates their relationship. And she didn't realize it at first that she had done that. So she had some slippage, so to speak. So then
she didn't realize she had done what? She didn't actually realize she had sabotaged it. She was basically creating excuses. Yeah. So creating excuses to make the guy look worse than he was, even though he was a pretty good dude. And of course, as soon as she threw a grenade in it, she regretted it immediately. Okay. Well, obviously with the guy, he's like, look, I can't trust you. I'm out.
right? So he went on to go move on. Right. She came back and, we were having some ongoing coaching sessions. She came back and said, this is what happened. This is what I did. And then we had to go and uncover, okay, where did that root start from? And she was able to go all the way back to her immersion documents, essentially these big sticky notes we use, and pinpoint exactly where that emotion came from, which then became the action, which basically became that whole gravitational pull thing. So essentially she's trying to break free this entire time. She finally identifies that. We finally start working on it a little more. Next thing you know, the guy's open-minded to give her a second chance. Parents are still totally against her dating or whatever. Again, her cash cow. Their cash cow. Didn't care about her happiness.
Right.
Elements of forgiveness, all that kind of stuff were there. And the next thing you know, the two got engaged and later married. And from all indications that I had and contact I've had with them, they're in a very happy place.
Now, was this a new guy or did she remarry her husband?
This is the old guy.
Okay, so she remarried her.
Well, she didn't remarry. She was able to marry. She never
they never got married. Okay, got it.
Yeah, they went through that whole dating phase, the committed relationship phase.
Okay.
However, the guy, insisted that he understood where that came from. He wanted her to be vulnerable and say, I need to know why this happened to begin with if I'm ever going to have trust to know it's not going to happen again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the reason I even bring that latter part of the story up is because people, when they go through this transformational process, they will at times go backwards just a little bit, and it determines whether or not they understand they're slipping back and from whether they keep going forward. Do they catch themselves? Do they have a mentorship? Do they have a coach, an accountability partner, stuff like that they can keep going to? Does that make sense?
I think so.
I'll try to say it a different way. A different person went through the same. I tell you what, I went through the same process, or not the same process, but something pretty close to it as I was kind of fleshing it out. When I went through the process as a whole, one of the things that I did distinctly different was I had to begin to challenge myself. I would notice that I would make a mistake and I would have to go and say, I'm sorry, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not a one and done. It's more in episodes of catapulting. TD Jakes calls it new levels, new devils.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So you mature to a certain point. You're going to be faced with adversity, right? What you choose in that moment determines whether or not you go back to being stuck or whether or not you keep on moving towards unstoppable.
So this is a plan. You're always working. You're always going through the steps, but it's not really a cycle because at that point it's not sequential. You're just dealing with stuff as it comes up. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I mean, is it kind of like Dave's baby steps in that, you do them, but then as needed, you go back and redo them.
Yes.
Just to keep everything in shape.
Yes.
So it's this piece of machinery that you're just always having to manage and take care of.
Yes. I would think of it like the guts of a Rolex watch.
Okay. Say more about that.
Yeah. So a Rolex watch or any kind of your nicer watches, right? Swiss watches or whatever. They're very well made in that every gear fits collectively together. Okay. When you're in a state of life mastery, those gears are always refining and stuff like that. Okay. Well, a long time ago, they obviously used to be more perpetual based, I guess what they're called. So you basically, the watch tuned itself by moving your arm, essentially you walking with it and stuff like that. I'm sorry, my brain just literally flew out the window. Come back. You can tell I've been on camera all week.
No, you're fine, man. Actually, I need a bathroom break. Is now a good time?
Yeah, now's a good time.
While you find your brain?
Yeah, come back, brain. Yeah, all right. I'll meet you back in a couple minutes. I'm going to use the bathroom too.
Yeah.